Richard Ward.
Thanks. Okay, can we have the first slide? All right. So, I'm sure many of you are wondering, and I often get asked, is the slide up? I can see it here. There we go. Okay. I get asked on a regular basis, how did I get from Africa from my boardroom table and first-class heating and five-star ablutions, and yes, that's me, to America and Chicago? And the answer is easy, on a plane, of course. And so it's very apt that this is an aerospace opportunity to be able to talk. Also want to thank Adrian and Keith and John and the AMRC, who certainly made it possible for me to even be a part of anything like this. My goal is to try and share some of the struggles that we might have and go through it as quickly as possible, and challenge you to see what it is that you could be doing. What is it that's stopping you from achieving your goals? Is it your heritage? Is it money? Is it resources? I was born in Zimbabwe, in Bulawayo, and that's the home that I grew up in. And yes, I have always loved water, even from the time I was a child. I grew up a good African boy, barefoot, enjoying everything that Africa had to offer. I graduated from high school after doing my A-levels and was faced with a first choice, jail or war. I couldn't wait to actually get into the army, and for the things that were happening in Rhodesia at the time, and I'll share one instance that was defining for me. And that was, we'd just been on a raid into Mozambique. I was on the first truck pulling out, and I heard this voice, as clear as you could imagine, "Get off this truck." And I thought, oh, that's stupid, get off this truck. I jumped off the truck, climbed on the next one, was one just like that. And minutes later came around the corner to mayhem, and one of my good friends, Spud, ended up dying with his head in my lap. The horrors of war live with me, and I've seen hundreds of people killed. But what was different about this time is Spud is the person who sat in the chair that I vacated on the first truck. And he actually died in my place. And so that was a defining moment for me, and it's defined a lot of what I do for the rest of my life as to, you know, what am I supposed to be doing with my life, and what's a challenge, and when do I give up, and when should I just keep going? I got out the army, went to university in Cape Town to do civil engineering, where I majored in hang gliding and windsurfing. And all the videos you see of anything are me. And I did go to the World Championships and had an awesome time, which happened to be in America in 1979. And I did graduate as a civil engineer in 1980, which is the same year that Rhodesia became Zimbabwe and Mugabe took over control, and it became a Marxist state, and I could not go back home for fear of being arrested. So I lost my home country, I lost my home, and I landed up in my second country. Landed up getting into construction and starting a company which grew to about 350 employees, where I love doing all sorts of things, and those little specks that you see there are people on the top of that. That was the largest slide in Africa at the time. I loved big earthworks. I loved blowing things up, and yes, water played a part even in my courting of my wife of 31 years. I landed up opening an open-cast mining company, and the long and the short of it is that a few years later, through the bad choice of partners, lost everything. So here I was, the second time I've lost everything, and I'm in a foreign country to cap it all. At that moment, I got offered a job in the US. At 34 years old, we arrived with a suitcase each. Apollo, I was in need of a work permit, and I'm in my third country. We were given a car, which was awesome. We called it Dung Beetle. And when it rained, it leaked so much that I had to put a raincoat on backwards so the water would actually hit and run off. Only the one door opened, and the back was tied up with wire. But we loved what we were given, and we appreciated the opportunity the States had given us. We did get a green card 5 years later, and we did become citizens. 16 months later, after arriving in the States, I lost my job. I'm in my third country. I have no saleable skills. I have no money, and I'm 35 years old. And I realized I have to start looking for something else to do. And I needed to find something that the average American knew nothing about, and nor did I, irrespective of my education and my qualifications. And I thought, I love water, I love jets, why not WARDJet? And in fact, WARDJet used to be called EasyJet in its early days. And I didn't have any money, so the way I got into WARDJet is I approached the guy, and I worked for him for 6 months for free. I slept on the floor in the factory. I averaged 94 hours a week. I had minimal pay, and in return, he sponsored me for my green card, which we did eventually get. There's the first machine I built in January '93, and I built a business where we specialized in doing artwork, stonework, and if you go to the John Hancock Center downtown, I actually did the lobby of that several years ago. That's all WARDJet cut. I then landed up hitting a real low when, because of my minimal pay, eventually totally ran out of money, had $600, could not make the mortgage, and didn't know what to do. And I was faced with the decision. So Helen and I sold our car, and we had to buy either flights back to Africa or start a business in America. And that was a low for me. Obviously, we chose the American route, and I can tell you some great stories, but I don't think I have time. Sharing a desk. My first desk was a door that we took off the hinges and put 2 garbage cans upside down in our home. I landed up consulting, teaching people about WARDJet, averaged 250 nights a year. We had nothing. This is the cereal bowl that Helen saved, that whenever I traveled, I would take cereals, and that's all I ate while I was traveling. It was really tough, but I landed up building a lot of relationships with people over a long period of time. During that period, I landed up patenting the WARDJet abrasive recycling dispenser, which is a recycling system, and we still are the only people who hold a patent on this. It was better known as Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because it made so much noise and shook so much that that's the best way we could describe it. But we've stayed with it, and we now have a very respected product that's sold around the world and reduces the cost of abrasive WARDJet cutting by at least 50%, which is huge. Let's fast forward 19 years. That's the home that I still live in, where we started the business. That's the factory that we are in. And I want to present some of the obstacles that I've faced in business that maybe a lot of people here who are in business face, and some of the sideways things of looking at it to try and overcome it. We're a tiny company. How do I get innovative electrical engineers when they have a choice to go to IBM or to Intel, and why would they join me? So we did the unthinkable. Put in a full microchip pick-and-place automated system with wave soldering and ovens, the whole lot. And when we interviewed electrical engineers, we'd say, here's your playground, I'll pay for everything, and you just have fun. And whatever comes out of that will roll over into our company. And as a result, obviously we build our own controllers, but we are also the largest controller retrofit company in the United States when it comes to WARDJet cutting. So it paid off. You know, another challenge, how do you reduce your labor costs? Well, we build machinery, so let's build machinery that does our own stuff. And we built our own welding gantries, our own welding robots, all sorts of things. Another thing, and I'm going to go as fast as I can. How do we accommodate large parts? And a lot of them are aerospace parts. Build big machines. That machine actually was doing the part that you're looking at, plus a lot of other stuff, which I can't say on Boeing planes, actually. And we started introducing 5-axis cutting. and we were certainly the leaders, and we built multiple 5-axis head cutting machines on single gantries. This machine's at Pratt & Whitney doing a lot of interesting stuff, and you can see here's an even bigger machine. So that's a 60-foot by 20-foot, and we can put 8-foot high parts underneath it with multiple 5-axis, and we can put a second crossbeam on there where we have multiple 5-axis CNC milling heads running at 24,000 RPM. Another challenge, how do we, when somebody says, I want to do 4 times as much work than I'm doing right now, what do? Well, you try to quadruple the capacity in one machine. And we started coming up with ways to put multiple programmable Ys, doing mirror image cutting, but why not do 4 heads doing 2 circles? And this particular job was 8 million pounds of stainless, and we reduced it from a 4-year to 1-year project. We built linear motion systems, and again, you see they're programmable linear motion systems. If you think about that, that starts getting pretty complicated electronically. And we do mirror image cutting at 116 inches a second and position to 5 micron accuracy. We try to always make sure we have fun. I ask people all the time, are you having fun? If you're not having fun, there's something wrong. Robots, of course, are becoming a big thing, and we now do robots with cutting, milling, laser, WARDJet, and combinations of all of them. And it's, let me see if I can go back one slide there. That's quite a nice slide because it shows you how we are bringing in shuttle tables. This particular unit replaces 8 robots in an automotive plant, and we are able to bring in various shuttle tables and have a robot literally do various parts and have them preloaded with one operator. So automation is becoming a very big part, and I think tying robots into gantries continues to just drive the envelope forward. But what's really making a demand is automation. Everybody wants automation. Everybody wants to produce 5 times as much with virtually, with a minimal amount of labor and support. And, 5-axis rotary intersection of pipes all tying together with all the software where you just put your OD/ID of 2 pipes, your angle of intersection, all your weld preps, and it all automatically bar feeds itself, and that's the kind of stuff that we are doing and that there's a demand for. I still love water. The biggest challenge on that one was trying to get permission to take my boots off by the safety coordinator. But that machine's actually got 3-inch thick floor, and that company's since bought 2 of those units. For cutting 12-inch thick Inconel, that's all it does 24 hours a day. So you can cut some pretty thick stuff as well. We began to see, whereas most of our effort and energy was in abrasive cutting, that there's a tremendous opportunity to get into water-only cutting. The challenge with water-only cutting is that everything you see on that screen there, the end user, the customer, is going to want to process all of that in one day, every day. Whenever you put a system in a company like that, it's always huge volumes, and they want 100% automation. And we've, again, perfected that with all our controls and drives and pinch feed systems and chain feed systems and barcode scanners, and we print barcodes on that, multiple 5-axis cutting, sensors, automatic loading, unloading, stacking, and then bringing shuttle tables into the picture. And you'll see later on, we've actually now, I believe, got the first fully automated system that offloads rolls onto shuttles, and one person runs the entire machine. Another challenge we faced, I do not want an award for the most service technicians in the world. That is something that I don't want. When I set the company up, I wanted to have no dealers, no distributors, no commissions, open architecture, open software, and be able to service everybody anywhere in the world with the minimum amount of effort. How do we do that? Well, we turn to technology. For example, on one of our machines, you'll get QR codes all over the machine. And you can take any device that just scans the QR code, and it will have your manuals, it'll have all your parts, it'll have everything right in your hand. We bring a lot of software, a lot of management software is a big push for us right now. where it tells you anywhere in the world what's being cut on your machine, who the operator is, how many minutes per part were being done, and all that standard with the equipment. And people like it, and it's what they want. And then, of course, Skype and WebEx and everything, and cameras are built in on all our machines. Next challenge, how do we get to large companies? We're a tiny company. How do we get the attention of big business? And I realized 28% of our staff are graduate engineers, electrical, mechanical, electronic, software. So we are very strong on engineering. How do we make use of that? And here, that machine replaces 5 robots. We can preload at the front. The front has one separate gantry with 2D, 3D cutting, doing 4 parts. The back's got a 5-axis on an independent gantry, doing the same 5 parts as it gets stepped through, and the back's offloading. Coming up with innovative ideas, but here's an example. And came to us and said, hey, we want to take 750-pound pipes, we want to rotate them, we want 5-axis cutting, we want to load them out the water, we want them cut underwater, and we want some flat cutting at the back. And they're beginning to see that we are an engineering team that can be, because we are small and nimble, in months we can do what other people take years to accomplish. And large companies are coming to us, and if you watch the slide here, from concept through to actually coming up with a design to your 3D models, where we are spending a lot of time, maybe every single day, having a WebEx with the engineering team, and then running over everything to once a week to ultimately building the machine. And that's what's unique about us, is that the steel comes in one end and the machine leaves the other. So we build everything in-house. We do all our own machining. We have some large CNC equipment and some small, all our own fabrication, all our own electronics, everything, and all our own automation. So we are able to come back and give solutions that are designed almost as an engineering extension of whoever our customer is, and then build it. This is the machine I was telling you about earlier, where we are taking rolls of material, sometimes multiple rolls, carbon fiber, material, graphite. So this is not necessarily just cloth, but we will sometimes interweave cloth into it and automatically feed it onto a shuttle table. And then the shuttle table's got multiple heads. So one person runs that entire system. We just got a patent pending on walls, where we will take machines and put divider walls in, and CE requires 10-foot space and then still a barrier, and we've been able to reduce that 10-foot and a barrier to 2 inches. So we're able to take a gantry like that and be doing cutting in the front while we're loading and unloading with 5-axis abrasive cutting. So that's pretty unique. We do a lot of inline extrusion stuff, machines where that's actually doing, we'll build the cassette system, the unloading system, the cutting with multiple heads, the washing, the drying, and the stacking. And just plenty of other ideas where we have large solutions. I'm going to introduce something that I've saved for today, which is brand new. This is the first time it's ever been mentioned on Earth, and we launch the entire product tomorrow following this. If you walk out of this room and you go across there are 20 WARDJet companies that you can go and talk to. And they're all competition, and a lot of the stuff comes from lower priced external places beyond US, and I have a hard time doing that. I'm very grateful for what America's done for me, and I want to give that back, and I want to make it in America. So how do we do that? How do we compete? This is a real challenge, and a lot of us might face that challenge. And we are going to do the unthinkable. And everybody here is in CNC, so you might think I'm crazy, but maybe it'll work, okay? We're going to try. We're going to take one of our lines. We have about 20 different standard machines that we build. Obviously, a lot of what we do is custom. And at least my goal is that 40% of what we do is WARDJet and 60% of it is custom automation based along the lines of what you see. Have nothing to do with WARDJet. We're taking the Emerald series, and we are going to take what is one of our highest accuracy machines. It's compact, it's easy to move around, and I've got WARDKit.com as opposed to WARDJet.com. And we are going to take an existing successful machine we sell and sell it in kit form. And we are going to make it so easy that a 12-year-old can come and build this machine and build a high quality, high accuracy CNC machine, and you can see the price right through the floor, okay? And the way we're going to do it is through incredible technology with automation as well as 3D animation, and I'll show you that now. So this would be part of the manual. When you buy a machine, you have to come to our facility and build one. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back if you think it's too difficult. But the idea is that you fall in love with the concept, and that's how everything is shown, and that's how you build the machine. We're taking it a step further with the glasses and the camera, which then recognizes every part that's in front of you. It gives you step-by-step. If you look on the left and the middle, there's messages popping up telling you do this, do that, do that. So our goal is that when somebody buys a kit from us, they get the glasses for a month because they cost $1,000, and you get it for free, and then you send it back. If you want it longer, let us know. We'll charge you a small fee. And I've met a lot of opposition even within the company as to whether this will work, and I'm driving it through, and I think it's got a chance. If you ever watch National Geographic, we were featured on Showdown of the Unbeatables a couple of weeks ago, and you can see we won by the look of the face of our person that we were against. So we had an awesome time, and that in itself was a real recognition by somebody like National Geographic of what we are achieving. And this is the end. So some Chicago playing in the background there. I do love water, even when it's frozen. And when you're down, and when you're out, and when you're struggling, get up again and just keep pushing and driving and going for it, because that's what makes a difference. I look back at Spud, who died in my lap, and I want him to be proud of me for what I've done with an amazing team of people in an awesome country, and I think we're just getting started as to what can be done. So, thank you very much.